Do scope, this is Squeeze, man. Appreciate everybody's been rocking with the channel, that's been supporting and subscribing. Appreciate everybody here. As y'all see by the topic, new fans, new problems. We're going to talk about the WNBA today. We're going to talk about them, man, because everybody talking about them. I've been a fan for the WNBA for a long time, and to see everybody talking about it, it is new. It is new, and the conversations are 99%, not even going to say 99, that's exaggeration. 90% of the conversations have nothing to do with what's actually going on the court. And, it's a little disappointing. But anytime you get uptick in popularity for any sport, a lot of casual fans are a part of the new popularity. And those casual fans, especially on a young league like the WNBA, they have no type of connection with female basketball, like to the point where they care about the history or even know the history or care about doing research enough on the history. Part of that is laziness, and then another part of that is, WNBA doesn't do a great job of marketing their history on their current stars and even their past stars as well. But that's another topic for another day. But a lot of people that are having conversations that got nothing to do with what was going on in the court, man. Like when we talk about the two most polarizing players right now in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, this ain't really about them, but the conversations that are surrounded when you talk about these two people. Their fan bases have divided the WNBA as far as like either fans of one or fans of the other. And people are so stubborn that they end the conversation that they can't even give the other player props, or they feel like they're doing a disservice to their people or a disservice to former players if they do. And we're going to get into all of it today. What I've learned and seen is, at least because I've just been paying attention, the online chatter, the analysts that's on the TV, I've been paying attention to it all. The way people that are primarily WNBA fans and people that are primary NBA fans, the way they handle and react to online discourse and sports discourse, just regular sports discourse, is two totally different ways, man. When you are NBA fans, we are used to, I consider myself, primary NBA fan, but I do, I rock with the WNBA too. But we are used to debates where you're comparing one player is better than the other. And to do that, you have to point out the other player's weaknesses. You got to nitpick the other player's game. You got to, have an edge, right? Because you're arguing for a certain player to be better than the other. It's not discrediting a player, though, if I'm not attacking them personally. If I'm attacking their game on the court, every player has weaknesses. Saying that Angel Reese field goal percentage is horrible, or saying Caitlin Clark turnovers are concerning and horrible, is not discrediting them as players and disrespecting them. It's literally what is on the court. They are literally stats to back up either one of those claims. But anytime I see the dialogue online, people are literally acting like you're personally attacking these ladies by just pointing out weaknesses in their game. They're rookies. They're going to have weaknesses. That's why it's not a big deal. But it's not an issue. People are not disrespecting them by just pointing out the obvious. And to say one player is better than the other is also not disrespecting the other player. And that's where you get the chatter where people are talking about doing co-rookie of the years. Like, this is not a participation award. One player is clearly better than the other. And it's fine. It's okay. Like, you're not... Me being a black male, I don't feel like I'm doing a disservice to my race if I say Caitlin Clark is better than Angel Reese right now. And that's right now. Angel Reese might be better next year. But right now, Caitlin Clark is better. People try to formulate these debates to make it more than what it is. Like, you're not... People aren't, you do have certain people that are bad apples, right? There are certain dialogues where people go too far and they disrespect Angel Reese, and they say things that are a little bit borderline of questioning her character, like they know the lady. I totally get that, but that's not the whole. That's not everybody, right? So when you see these people that are having those particular conversations, and you are making the minority the majority, or you have certain people saying racist comments, make sure we addressing and looking at who is saying it. Like, does the name say Jerry Bob 2568? And does he have an avatar of Goku? Like, people will see a comment and they'll see somebody making an outlandish claim. Then they'll go on their Twitter and hype up and rally the troops. even though they only seen this from 1 to 2 people, but they'll generalize it, make sure it's everybody. That's what I'm seeing a lot. And both sides aren't acknowledging the role they're playing in the toxic discourse. Both sides are doing the exact same things. If you feel like certain people, both sides are discrediting the other player, actually not trying to ignoring their accomplishments, saying certain things, and both sides are doing it. I've seen people throw rocks, hide their hands. Literally, their whole timeline is liking tweets and reposting things that are negatives against either one of the players, but then they act like that they're unbiased. Like, the dialogue is just not being the same there. And being an NBA fan, like, we used to toxic conversations. Shoot, the analysts go on TV and call the players out their name, disrespect their personal character, and I think it's too far when they do that. But it's so toxic that we kind of used to it at this point. You got nicknames like what Busquets was calling Chris Bosh Spice. You got them calling LeBron Queen James, right? Like, you see certain things, but these dudes really try to attack. Stephen A went on a whole crusade for like 6 months about going on Kyrie, personal attacks. And I think because we used to it, that when you try to transition and have those same type of conversations with people who are WNBA fans, you meeting at a stalemate. They're not used to that dialogue. They're not used to it. I'm not saying they ain't see it before and they can't adapt to it, but they're not used to people trying to like literally attack somebody's character. If Dame goes out on the court and he gets 5 texts and he's cursing people out, they gonna say he's a bad person. And Angel Reese is getting some of the same type of things. I'm not saying she hasn't done any of that, right? But when they see certain things where they see somebody's braggadocious or they think somebody has an ego, see somebody talking trash, first thing they're going to think is that person's cocky. They're going to call them types of names. And that's what happens in sports, unfortunately. That's in America, that's what they do. That's literally what they do. You got to ignore that. Like, long as somebody's not like being blatantly racist, then you don't need to address it. But these people get a rise out of trolling people, and they get a rise out of it. They see if it's working, they're going to continue to do it. And if these people that are watching, like I was mentioning before, they don't have equity in the game. Like, they don't have that connection. So it's people that literally are watching because they want to see Caitlin Clark. People that are literally watching because they want to see Angel Reese. They don't give a damn about Asia. They don't give a damn about Sabrina, Brianna, Lloyd, Skylar. They don't give a damn about anybody. Just those players. So they're going to go online and say Caitlin's the best player they ever saw. They don't care about anything else outside of it. Like, those people shouldn't matter when it comes to discussions. We need to kick those people out of the discussions, to be honest with you. As long as the analysts ain't going on TV and doing that, then we can kind of not give these people so much power and a voice. And when we get to the analysts, because that's a whole nother thing too, right? Stephen A and Shannon Sharp are doing their victory lap, right? A lot of people have been doing the victory lap because Caitlin came in the league and dominated. Not the same way she did in Iowa with scoring, but dominated just almost everything as far as offensive stats go, right? And a lot of people saying she wouldn't. Everybody's taking their victory lap. Everybody's kind of rubbing it in, and everybody's just getting excited, right? But those guys that's entertainment. They're literally just being entertaining. They see that people are triggered by when they hype up Angels, when they was calling out Molly and Monica and all that. Like, they get a rise out of people's entertainment to them. Ignore them, man. I've seen players struggle. Players have been struggling a lot this year. Coaches have been struggling a lot this year. And fans have been struggling a lot this year with this new attention. Coaches were literally getting annoyed when being asked about Caitlin Clark in the press conferences. There was literally a couple coaches where it's like, they was getting snarky about it and giving an attitude to the reporter. If one player is looking at it as the marketing engine of the league and bringing all this attention, they're going to ask you about them every single chance they get for the clickbait title. They do it with LeBron and the NBA all the time. Giannis be at the podium, holding his kid after a beautiful game of him dropping 38, 12, and 15. And they'll be like, yo, man, you seen LeBron drop 50 too? He dropped 50 as well. Did you see that? Like, Giannis ain't even He just got out of his game. How you got time to watch his? Like, that's what they do. That's what they do. Like, that's part of sports media, sports dialogue. It's about comparing players, saying who better, pointing out weaknesses, sometimes even, discrediting somebody's abilities, pointing out stats. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And y'all know, the female and the WNBA fans know. But they're getting triggered. It's a lot of triggering going on, at least as far as what I see. Y'all could tell me if I'm wrong, but you take a scroll and you kind of pretty much see. We talking about everything but the playoffs. It's 6 teams right now that could literally beat each other. You got the Suns, you got the Lynx, you got the Liberty, you got the Aces. You got am I missing anybody? The Fever. Fever is being pretty good this year, right? Like, you have the Seattle, right? Storm. So you have so many teams that literally can beat each other. That's what we really should be talking about. We should be talking about that because I'm actually excited for the playoffs this year. I don't know who gonna win. Don't nobody ask me. I ain't giving you no predictions. I do not know. I do not know at all. But drama is leading the talk, and it doesn't have the balance that other sports have, where they do cover drama, but they still cover the what's the product on the court, and that would change with time. But you wanted the eyes. What they were screaming and begging for was the eyes on the product. So that's what you're getting. You're getting the eyes. You're not getting the dialogue that you want yet, but that will come. It will come. Once we weed out the casual fans that are watching for now, they ain't gonna stay with it. They'll fall off in a year or two. They'll watch it less and less. The ones that you're able to retain and actually be, actual fans of the sport, they're the ones that's going to carry the actual dialogue, and that's what we're going to focus on. But Angel and, but look, like I said, people aren't being honest about the dialogue that they are having. Both sides are doing the same thing, but they give you the money and they give you the ratings, and that's what y'all want at the end of the day. And I also, with the big thing that happened was the Swoop situation. Swoops had a space 2 days ago that she was in. She was getting interviewed, and it was, there's a lot of people in there, and they were basically, sticking up for Swoops. And Swoops was kind of expounding on her point because she's been getting called out a lot for her hate towards Caitlin Clark. And I'm going to say hate because the only reason I'm going to say hate, because if you look at some of the comments, she would go out her way to not say anything positive about Caitlin Clark for a whole segment. Like, I know when I was in the space, people was literally acting like Swoops ain't say nothing, and they leaned on some apology she made in February, and it was like, see, she apologized. Swoops ain't hating on that girl. But do you actually know the dialogue that has been going on, what Swoops have been saying? Swoops is literally on record saying things like, of course, Caitlin is doing great in college. She's 25. The other lady's 20. That don't sound like no praise. That sound like a dig. Like, if somebody say that, like, that's a dig. If somebody, and then they follow that up with, they're not going to credit any, they're not going to look at her breaking the scoring records as legitimate because she played more games than Plum, which wasn't even true. All this is in the same interview. And then she says she don't think she would translate well into the league, which is a fair critique. Like, I'm not mad that she said that, but if you combine that with everything else, you literally said nothing positive about this girl. And we seen that. Like, at the end of the day, you went on Gil's Arena and you made certain comments. Like, nothing positive has been said. You critique. If I talk about the Bulls and I talk about how great they are and all the success they had, and I don't even mention Mike's name, y'all gonna call that person a hater. So why when Swoops does the same thing, we just act like, oh, nah, she just ain't want to kiss her ass. You ain't got to kiss her ass. Just give her the same praise you gave everybody else on the team. Especially since she's the one that helped lead it. That's what I'm saying. People aren't being honest. Like, people got in that space and literally was acting like Swoops was innocent and did nothing at all. And Swoops is a legend. I rock with Swoops. I ain't got no issue with Swoops. But we throwing your rocks and high in your hand. Come on, it's crazy. The lady clearly doesn't like that Caitlin is receiving all this praise, and she's probably seen people and read comments of people trying to give her all the praise, and that has skewed her a bit, where she doesn't want to add on to that and be one of those people. That's what just be honest about it. Just be honest. But if you want to be such a legend in the game, you're doing a disservice to the game by not helping the young stars or shining light on the young stars. She hasn't done anything. So I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, Swoop's like, you brought it on yourself. Nobody else did it. You brought it on yourself. And she basically said, you know, to give her point, she was saying like she wanted to she didn't like that some of the black players were being attacked when you know, some of them that certain run-ins with Clark, you know, when Carter gave her the hard foul, and you know, Angel and Carrington, you know, sometimes people have come at these ladies personally because of situations like that. She wanted, you know, she's black, they're black, so she wanted to basically, you know, stick up for them, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you identify with them, you want to stick up for them. I fully support that. But in doing that, you don't gotta put backlash on Caitlyn. You stuck up for them, which was cool, which is what you're supposed to do. But people do the same thing regarding no matter who the athlete is. When DeWanna Bonner's wife, Alyssa Thomas, who played for the Suns, when she flagrant fouled Angel Reese, they literally went into her comments and accused her of domestic violence on her wife, DeWanna Bonner, because she fouled Reese hard. You don't believe me? You go on DeWanna Bonner's tweet. She had to make a tweet about it and say, look, sometimes hard fouls happen, but there is no domestic violence in my home. Keep that somewhere else. That's what she literally had to do, because people were accusing her of her wife of domestic violence on her just because she did a flagrant foul. And these are all black players involved. So it just don't have nothing to do with Caitlyn. People just, that's what sports fans do. Like, this is what they do, especially when something happens to a popular player, no matter who it is. This is what they do. And this type of dialogue is going to be around. You know, just you have to get used to it. When you get the casual fans, that's what happens. It's okay. New fans, new problems, new debates. We got to keep the convo off of race, even though it's hard to do, especially in these times. Sometimes it is race, depending on who you're talking to, but then other times it's just literally basketball talk, sports talk in general. So it's through the scope, man. It's Queese, man. I just wanted to, you know, speak on my piece on that, because I've been seeing a lot of dialogue on kind of what's going on, and it's just people just all over the place. But through the scope, you know, like, subscribe. Appreciate everybody. I'm out.